yourself to frame the conversation. Are you a Twitter guy?
I am a Twitter guy.
Okay,
yeah.
What is your Twitter bio?
My Twitter bio, I think it's like things that it's about Magna and then things I did before Magna. So just classic
classic
former.
Yeah, exactly.
right,
Name droppy
previous.
stuff. Yeah,
Nice,
exactly.
you got to.
Yeah, I'm like I'm basically still starting out my career in a way. So I feel like I got to do that still until I can like have 1,000 followers and then do something like like former baby or something like that.
Drop the handle. Drop the handle.
My handle is Arun DOTAI. It is like Arun.ai, which is my website.
Okay. I love it.
Okay, and what's Magna?
Yeah, Magna is a token management company. We build cap table software as well as kind of like escrow rails for token vesting, basically. So if you invested in a project, you're getting your tokens, your allocated tokens on a vesting schedule. We help automate that for both crypto companies who issue tokens and also stakeholders who are withdrawing those tokens.
Nice. And what was your aha crypto moment?
My aha crypto moment. I used to work at a hedge fund called Millennium. And I think when I started working there were not a whole lot of rules on the type of crypto things you could trade. And then I think at some point I hope this isn't like secret information, but they had some like more rules about what you could trade. You could only trade like Ethereum and Bitcoin basically. And like, so I was like, okay, like, haha, something's going on here. Maybe we're trading some of it. Maybe, the markets are aligning in a way. So this is like 2021. So it's also like bull market-y kind of vibes.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I think it was mostly just, I had some very smart friends working in crypto and, they kind of described it to me as like kind of the Wild West in a cool way, which I think we're kind of returning back to like the kind of counterculture roots in a way, so I think that was really cool and very empowering for developers as well, which I am. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, here we are at the Real World Asset Summit. We are learning what real world assets are. I'm wondering if you can describe for us in maybe about 15 seconds or less what your understanding of real world assets are.
Yeah. So a real world asset, I guess when we say real world asset, we mean like an on-chain real world asset, which is like the on-chain representation of something that is an asset from traditional finance. So like the US dollar is the kind of the big prevalent one. There's also like treasuries that are tokenized. And what this means is that you can interact with these kinds of traditional financial products, but using the blockchain in a much more like kind of one-to-one way with what actually exists in the real world, in the regular financial system.
Nice. And then why do you think tokenization is important?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think the usual answers are just kind of the crypto answers of like it's more stable or it's more transparent, it's more open, it's more interoperable. I think those are all like really good answers. I think the kind of core might just come down to it being more efficient. I think there's a lot of places where there's like inefficiencies in the financial markets and, especially just from being at a hedge fund, those bips tend to matter. It's only like a very small improvement that can add up, especially when you have a lot of volume. And so not to say like there's a prophecy of a bull market coming again, but even with the
you
heard it here first.
Let it be.
Well, even today it's like $1 trillion market cap class. So I think any efficiencies we see there will be pretty awesome. So like with stable coins, which are I think like in the hundreds of billions of at least volume, I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff there. So that's one thing. And I think also like it's this hopefully will make it easier for people, and this depends on how regulation goes in the US, but for people maybe outside the US to get involved, anyone and like in Singapore can buy USDC, I'm pretty sure from like, Uniswap or something. So I think that would be kind of cool to see them, other countries be able to access some of the financial products that we have in a rather well-established financial system here in the US. So.
Okay, speaking of the financial system here in the US, what do you think is the single biggest hurdle standing in the way of RWA adoption?
I think, I think RWAs naturally will have like interest that's a little more bent towards institutions. And so they might be a lot more concerned about, security and compliance, and things like that. So I think that's one thing. There is like very little regulatory clarity in the US, of course. They kind of clarify by enforcing somewhat sporadically like indictments on crypto companies. And so I think that's really hard for us to make much, speaking as a company who works in the token space, hard for us to really navigate like, hey, like, can we put a lot of, I think one of the panelists was saying this today about like, hey, like in a way, they're a VC fund, they're allocating capital to more capital allocators, like being ourselves, like myself, my co-founder. And so, we're trying to see what's the best use of that capital for enabling tokens as an asset class. And so I think, that the big hurdle being, hey, like, will this be useful for us, especially given that we're a US company and subject to all these things. So it's really tough.
Okay, when I say regulation, you say
Good.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.